Welcome to Group Three's podcast. Today's episode is Triggered Realities, where we'll be having a look into the issue of gun violence. First off, I want you to imagine this. You're in middle school, hanging out with your friends, just chilling on the playground, then all of a sudden the teachers are in panic and begin to bring everyone inside to seek shelter. You later find out the elementary school across the street has been subject to a mass shooting. This would cause anyone trauma. Well, fast forward 11 years, and you are now in college, finally excited to be free from your parents. Then all of a sudden, the most feared moment you've ever had happens again. Your college this time becomes the victim of a school shooting. This seems almost unbelievable, but this is exactly what happened to Jackie Matthews. How can we stop this issue? Today, we'll be hearing from the point of views from pro-gun supporters, strict gun law supporters, and by someone who may have the answer to appease both sides. Joining me now is pro-gun supporter Jason, who believes the answer to ensuring good people need guns in order to protect themselves.
Hello, as I was introduced, I am Jason. So in the entire world, there are only 3 countries that protect the right to own guns within their constitution: the United States, Mexico, and Guatemala. Within these countries, the United States has the highest gun ownership in the world, with approximately 120 guns per 100 people. So with that, the US has those high ratios of guns. They actually own 46% of all the guns in the world that are available to civilians. With this much gun ownership, there are laws in place that prevent felons, fugitives, drug addicts, people committed to mental institutions, people dishonorably discharged from the military, people who've renounced the United States citizenship, illegal or non-immigrant aliens, as well as plenty of other people as well that are not allowed to own guns. Out of all the gun violence that we have had within the US, suicides account for 54% of the gun-related deaths, which shows that the gun violence itself is not murders or these mass shootings or stuff like that. A majority of them are actually suicides. About 8 out of 10 murders in the US, however, do involve a firearm, but about 55% of these suicides also include firearms. Gun-related deaths also have fluctuated over the years since about 1968 within the US, the peak of which was 1974. These laws that prevent people like felons and stuff from owning guns have been in place a lot longer than that. And there have been new laws that have been put into place since this peak, and total gun violence has gone down. Now, currently, it has gone up over the last couple of years in recent years, but we are still ranked 20th in the world for gun violence. So the United States, although has the highest guns, is not the most violent. The most violent country is actually Brazil. Brazil has more stricter gun laws than the US, but has the highest gun deaths in the world as of 2023, with approximately 48,000 gun deaths per year. So this goes to show that stricter gun laws do not necessarily mean less gun violence.
Thank you, Jason. Next up, we have Valeria, who believes the answer is banning guns altogether.
Hi, this is Valeria. I wanted to share my thoughts on this important topic. I always believe that there's a delicate balance between individual rights and public safety when it comes to guns. We live in a country with relatively lens of gun laws, and it's concerning to see how easy it is for firearms to end up in the wrong hands. I delved into the stark realities of how easy access to firearms, gun trafficking, and criminal empowerment can lead to a surge of gun-related crime. But I won't stop there. I also examined the Australian model. It's a remarkable success story born out of a tragedy. After the devastating Port Arthur massacre, Australia made a change in these gun laws, implementing reforms like buyback programs, background checks, and firearm license requirements. What was the result? A remarkable reduction in firearm-related and homicides and suicides. fewer mass shooting, and overall safety society. I think Australia's journey serves as a beacon of hope and lesson for the world, demonstrating that sensible, comprehensive gun control measure that can save lives. I think this example is truly inspiring. It shows that change is possible even after a horrific event like this massacre, and it makes me wonder if such a tragedy incident is what it takes for society to wake up and take action. However, it's also crucial to acknowledge the cultural difference between countries. Um, what works in Australia might not necessarily work everywhere else. That's where the challenge lies. I feel like finding a common ground and creating legislations that respect responsible gun ownership, prioritizing public safety is not a small feat. So I'm curious about the role of education and awareness in this conversation, and how can we better educate people about responsible gun ownership and the potential risks associated with the firearms, and also how can we foster constructive dialogues between individuals with opposing views and of gun control. And I don't know, like I have a question. So what do you guys think, what measure do you believe that could be most effective in reducing gun-related crime without infringing a responsible gun ownership rights, especially in America, for example?
Hello, my name is Leopoldo Espinosa. I'm more in the middle ground for this topic, and that was one of the researches I did regarding more about the education that people receive in order to get involved with guns, not only owning guns or selling guns as well. People who try to buy guns in countries that have a little bit more restrictive laws than the US, for example, they need to go through a more thorough procedure, training, and retraining. Once you go to purchase a firearm in several countries such as Australia, Norway, Switzerland, that they have gun laws that are more restrictive than the US, but they're not as strict as most of the other countries outside of the US. You will need to go through several background checks, both not only physically, but mentally. You need to go through a psychological background check with approved psychologists that can give you a verdict whether if you are stable or not in order to own a firearm. That's one way to prevent gun-related crimes. Also, you need to go to fire training, how to proper handle a firearm. Not only when you purchase it, but every maybe biannually or every year, you will need to go through a safety course again and again, no matter the caliber or the type of gun that you own. That's what I think about the education as well. Also, if they have children at their home, I believe that could be also an issue, a space where a kid might be able to reach out to it. I'm not talking about 5-year-olds, but let's say you're talking with preteens or teens, even though it's not.
I do feel like he brings up a good point, because I feel like the debate we have going on now, it's the pro-gun thinks, yes, we need all our guns, and then the anti-guns thinks, take them all away. So I feel like Leopoldo did have a solid approach that would meet both sides, like almost a compromise, and I feel like each of those would be effective in reducing these gun violent activities.
My Wi-Fi connection isn't great. I don't know if I lost you guys.
There we go. Yeah, so what you missed, we're talking about how we feel like you are that median, and you have a solution that meets both sides, for almost, you would say, meeting in the middle.
Yes, for example, I do think that owning guns is an asset for the common citizen to be able to defend themselves in case of a intruder or a violent act that might happen at your house. Or also for people who will conceal carry that have guns pretty much at all times in the public road or at a public building. They can also, if handled and properly and being well trained, you can also prevent a crime, a violent crime, a massacre as well. Then again, in restrictive countries that have strict gun restrictions, the guns black market is still around. What I mean is criminals or people who want to do violent crimes, they do have access to guns. Not as easy as in an unrestricted country where you can go. So I don't know if I'm free or no, because you guys are free. But what I was saying is the black market is still around, no matter the policies. Criminals do have access to them, even though the regular citizens does not. So in countries with, like Brazil, as Jason said, or the victims aren't able to buy guns or bear arms. In that scenario, it's an uneven game plan or game field for the common citizen and the criminal.
See, looks like that connection is a little rough. So I did want to thank Leopoldo for his views, or I think we got you back. Thank you for your views that meet both halfway, and I feel like both sides of the controversy can kind of agree upon what you went on. I guess any questions for either of the sides if they want to state anything now? Any closing statements? No? All right, well, thank you all for joining this podcast. I hope this was very informative for you guys so you can kind of see both sides of point of views. I know this is a very debatable topic, especially in the US. So thank you for coming as we looked at both point of views, both from pro-gun, strict gun laws, and maybe even, a happy medium with that. So hopefully we sparked you guys with some new fixes that you think will solve this situation. And with that, good night, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, guys.